Yeah. Thank you so much.
Oh, where'd my little thing go?
See, maybe he's confused because that's what he told me. He said, yeah, we took him here yesterday or something, and they sent him back.
I think I heard.
Yeah, so he's probably...
Well, it's 7 o'clock, time to start a meeting. The regular meeting of the Grand Traverse County Commission, March 31st, 2010, 7 o'clock. If you'd stand for the invocation, please.
Our Heavenly Father, please give us the insight, guidance, and wisdom as we go through tonight's agenda so we can make the best decisions on behalf of the public we serve. Tonight we also want to honor the life of Ann Mapes and her contribution and dedication to the community of Grand Traverse County. Her honors bestowed to Ann include 1992 Humanitarian Award by Child and Family Services, special tribute for hard work, dedication, and professionalism by the 90th Legislature of Michigan, awarded on August 15th, 2000. Grand Traverse Human Services Coordinating Council Citizen of the Year Award in 2001. Grand Traverse County Probate Family Court Award for honor and respect for 30 years of service in 2001. And 2008 Zonta Club Woman of the Year. Ann Mapes, 72 years old, of Traverse City, passed away on March 22nd, 2010. We pray tonight for Ann and her family. Amen. Our prayers are with them. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Will you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Fleece?
Present.
Friend? Here. Hooper?
Here.
Inman?
Here.
Max Bauer? Richardson?
Here.
Stepka?
Here.
Wheelock?
Yes, ma'am.
Chairman Thomas?
Yep. Here. Now is the time for the first public comment. Would you read the rules, please?
Any person shall be permitted to address a meeting of the Board of Commissioners, which is required to be open to the public under the provisions of the Michigan Open Meetings Act as amended. Public comment shall be carried out in accordance with the following board rules and procedures. 1. Any person wishing to address the board shall state his or her name and address. 2. No person shall be allowed to speak more than once on the same matter, including time needed to answer commissioners' questions. The chairperson shall control the amount of time each person shall be allowed to speak, which shall not exceed 3 minutes. Chairperson may at his or her discretion extend the amount of time any person is allowed to speak.
Well, if anybody want to speak, come up and identify yourself. Good evening, Glenn Lyle, 4257 Holiday Road. I am not here for East Bay Township. I'm here for myself, and I just want to announce that I am running for state representative for the 104th district, and all my information is out on a website, www.glenn.com. Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else?
My name is Norbert Tutlis. I live at 4565 Buckhorn Drive, Traverse City, Michigan. I've lived in the county since 1976. I've lived there since '88. And I'm here to talk about the 3 R's today: the reduce, remove, and regret. If we reduce the ponds, if we remove the dams, and if we regret the decision, it's not something that we're going to be able to go back and recover. So I want to talk to you about the upcoming 10% requirement of renewable energy. It's due in 2015. The apparent lack on Traverse City Light and Power's part to get there, other than biomass, leaves me concerned. so we must get involved in helping our neighbors achieve that goal. By way of reminder, we, that is Traverse City Light and Power, Grand Traverse County, and myself as a special intervener, are over 1 year into the relicensing procedure of developing the dams for return to hydroelectric production. This Federal Energy Regulatory Commission project, which is known as P13284-000-Michigan, is the preliminary permit process, and we're reviewing project files, existing environmental data, engineering options for the project, and we'll continue this process to determine the most efficient use of the resource. Or our last letter to FERC, which was on behalf of the county and the city, stated that in February in 2010, was the second update we provided to FERC. So my question at this point is, if this is true, why are we allowing the implementation team to continue studying dam removal? But let's continue. Using the charade of an unrealistic goal of 30% renewable energy by 2025, which Traverse City Light and Power has publicly stated they'd like to do, they've taken their eye off the ball. Instead of using something we already have, they're looking to biomass or mass. The 10% requirement is phased in with 2% due in 2012, which some people don't know. 3% in 2013, of which the dams on the Boardman River are capable of producing the necessary power to comply with that. 5% by 2014, and the balance, the 10%, is due in 2015. So why am I here and what do I want? My presence here today is to request that you, commissioners, consider forming a blue ribbon committee of 5 members at least, give us 90 days to come back to you and provide the necessary information which was missing in April of 2009, and allow you to reverse your decision to remove the dams. If we fail to convince you to do over the big mistake which I felt was made, then please consider this. At the very least, if we fail to change your minds and votes, put the issue of destroying the dams on the November ballot and let the eligible voters express their wishes. Over half the respondents to the Boardman River Dams Committee survey in October of 2008 expressed their desire to see the dams used for hydroelectric production. In a 2005 Traverse City Light and Power survey, their customers, 53% of them, responded that they want to have their electricity come from a renewable source such as hydroelectricity. So if you listen, you will hear. And what you're hearing is a murmur that's becoming a roar. I'm asking you to do the right thing. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else? If not, we'll close public comment.
Dick. Commissioners, I put on your desk tonight a letter of response to a letter of allegations that's circulating around the community by Ron Taylor, the Grand Traverse Rural Fire Department, and subsequent articles in the Traverse City Record-Eagle headline, which I cited Grand Traverse County, or if I remember right, Grand Traverse County officials cited for ordinance violation. The notice of violation that they're talking about, which they never mentioned in the rest of the article, it was pretty much an attack on me as far as I was concerned. The notice of violation they're talking about was issued to Wheelock & Sons Welding. It was not to me personally, and it certainly had nothing to do with my position on this board. So you have a response letter on your desk, and I would appreciate it if you take the time to read it.
Thank you. Is there any changes to the agenda?
I move we approve the agenda.
Support.
Good move and supported. All in favor? Yes, sir.
I wanted to add something to the agenda.
Okay.
I'd like to, under new business, I would like to add number 6, staff direction on the DPW assessment.
Okay. Judge Soup,
No, it doesn't.
you withdraw your motion?
No, I don't.
Oh, I asked you if,
I said, you said, does that suit me? And I said, no, it doesn't. I don't wish to have my motion amended.
So then you're saying you don't want this added?
That would be correct, yes.
Okay.
Why would you want to refuse to discuss something?
We don't have any information on it. I mean, we don't need to discuss it. It's,
It's a simple direction,
I-
request for direction.
I think we should have a vote.
I don't
I-
understand how you can blatantly say, no, we're not going to discuss that, when you don't even know what the request is going to be.
I'm unwilling to have the agenda changed, added to at this point.
Mr. Chairman,
There was a motion and a second, don't we have to
There's a
address?
motion
I
and a
believe the
second.
rule
Yes,
is
We
that-
shouldn't be discussing
Yeah.
them.
Takes
This.
two-thirds to add something to the agenda.
you need a two-thirds vote.
No, it doesn't take two-thirds. It takes 6 elected and serving.
Well, the rules say two-thirds, so I believe that would mean at least a two-thirds majority of the members elected and
Well, actually, with
serving.
8 people here, it's the same.
But,
It's the same number either way.
Same.
but we have a motion already before, we're going to deal with that.
To accept this,
Yeah,
Let's just vote on it.
if you vote the motion down, then you can add to the agenda. If you don't,
Right.
you're going to deal with the agenda as it was on.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
I would like to request from my fellow commissioners that we allow, or we disallow his motion,
We can't do that.
and that we amend the agenda to put the item I've requested on there, as it's merely a directive for staff. And I don't see why we would not entertain the thought of that. Thank you.
It takes two-thirds to defeat it or approve
No, put it
Well,
on.
first,
Two-thirds to add it to the agenda, to add
Okay,
Commissioner
Let's just
Fleece's
vote on the
item to the
motion.
agenda.
but to defeat his motion, it's
No.
just simple majority.
Just a simple majority.
Simple majority.
Okay. All in favor of the motion?
aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Aye.
Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Fleece?
No.
Friend?
Yes.
Hooper?
Yes.
Inman?
No.
Richardson?
Yes.
Stepka?
Yes.
Wheelock?
No?
Chairman Thomas?
No.
Fails.
Motion
It
fails.
Fails, it's a tie vote,
It's tie vote,
Fails.
so the motion fails.
so the motion.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
I would like to make a motion to amend the agenda to include under new business, number 6, to direct staff to get some information reference the DPW.
Please support the motion.
Support.
I'm confused.
Just a roll.
That still doesn't approve the agenda.
Well, we have to
No,
decide whether
okay.
we're going to approve
Okay.
the addition.
All in
Yeah.
favor,
Restate it.
Huh?
Restate it. Restate the motion.
restate the motion, please.
I'll try. And Mr. Fleece, please comment if I'm not correct. Commissioner Fleece amended the agenda to direct staff to get information on the DPW. That-
Direction on the
Okay.
DPW.
If you have it that
DPW.
way, then we only
vague.
need one motion. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Aye.
Roll call vote.
Commissioner Friend?
No.
Hooper?
Yes.
Inman?
Yes.
Richardson?
No.
Stepka?
No.
Wheelock?
Yes.
Fleece?
Yes.
Chairman Thomas?
Yes. That one did pass?
Yes.
No, motion
No, no.
fails.
What
No, it
fails?
doesn't. It takes two-thirds.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, that's right.
It takes 6 votes. Mr. Chairman, I would move to approve the agenda as drafted.
Support.
That's right. All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Opposed, the same? Carried.
They're just added to the committee.
Okay, consent calendar.
Fighting about it.
The purpose of the consent calendar is to expedite business by grouping non-controversial items together to be dealt with by one commission motion without discussion. Any member of the commission, staff, or the public may ask that any item on the consent calendar be removed therefrom and placed elsewhere on the agenda for full discussion. Such request will be automatically respected. Any item on the, any item not removed from the consent calendar The action noted, receive and file or approval, is approved by a single commission action adopting the consent calendar. All information identified on the consent calendar can be viewed in its entirety at www.grandtraverse.org. Receive and file. 1, resolution objecting to election management system license renewal fees, Alger County. 2, resolution supporting efforts to stop the migration of Asian carp into the Great Lakes, Alger County. 3, resolution supporting the recommendations contained in the Legislative Commission on Statutory Mandates report of December 2009, Van Buren County. 4, correspondence from MAC dated February 17, 2010, support of road commissioners by district. 5, correspondence from Road Commission dated February 24, 2010 to Mrs. Donahue. 6, correspondence from Kelly Marsigan, Holiday Inn of March 1st, 2010. 7, correspondence from Carl Levin dated March 8, 2010, Coast Guard helicopters. 8, correspondence from Interlochen Public Library trustee Don Gresso dated March 11, 2010. 9, correspondence from Grand Traverse Dyslexia Association dated March 17, 2010, in appreciation of support of 2% grant funding. 10, Public Health and Safety Committee draft minutes of March 3, 2010. 11, Resource Management Administration Committee draft minutes of March 10, 2010. 12, Ways and Means Committee draft minutes of March 17, 2010. 13th, Area Agency on Aging draft minutes of December 3, 2009. 14, Northern Michigan Substance Abuse Services minutes of December 7, 2009. 15, Boardman River Dam Implementation Teams minutes of January 21, 2010. 16, Board of Public Work minutes of January 25, 2010. 17, Road Commission regular minutes of January 27, 2010. 18, Road Commission special minutes of January 29, 2010. 19, Resource Recovery Council minutes of February 4, 2010. 20, EDC minutes of February 11, 2010. 21, Traverse Area District Library minutes of February 11, 2010. 22, Boardman River Dams Implementation Team draft minutes of February 18, 2010. 23, Road Commission's draft minutes of February 24, 2010. 24, Grand Traverse Community Collaborative draft minutes of February 25, 2010. 25, Commission on Aging draft minutes of March 2, 2010. 26, Senior Center ad hoc draft minutes of March 8, 2010. 27, 2010 Human Resources snapshot as of February 28, 2010. Referrals, none. Approvals, 28. Board of Commissioners regular minutes of February 24, 2010. Public Health and Safety Committee recommends approval of the following resolutions. 29, Sheriff's Office surplus vehicles. 30, Sheriff's Office surplus items. 31, Schmuckel Family Foundation Grant Acceptance Health Department. 32, Rotary Cherries Grants Acceptance Health Department. 33, Comprehensive Planning, Budgeting, and Contracting Amendment Number 2 for fiscal year 2009-2010. 34, Veterans Coalition 4th of July fireworks. 35, Construction Code Contract with City of Traverse City. Resource Management Administration Committee recommends approval of the following resolutions. 36, Howe Arena entrance doors. 37, Staffing Plan Update, MSU Extension Program Assistant. 38, Approval of DK Securities Audit. Ways and Means Committee recommends approval of the following resolutions. 39, Staffing Plan Amendment, Nurse Practitioner for Kingsley Health Clinic. 40, Energy Efficiency and Conservation Block Grant Agreement. 41, Acceptance of a Remonumentation Grant for 2010. 42, GIS Enhanced Access Fee for 2010, Address Point File. 43, Proposal for Actuarial Valuation of Other Post-Employment Benefits. 44, Budget Adjustments. Subcommittee recommendations. 45, Appointments to Community Corrections Advisory Board. And 46, Appointment to Boards and Committees, Workforce Development and Planning.
Is there anybody in the public who would like to have anything withdrawn from the consent calendar? How about the board? Sonny?
Number 29, sir. And maybe we can clear it up real fast and easy if you want to do it now, or you want to just do it when we get to it. The vehicle descriptions don't match. In the top, it says, whereas a 2002 Chrysler Sebring with the VIN number, and in the resolution at the end, it says a 2002 Chevy Impala. They're not the same vehicle.
I would ask that we remove it then, and then we can look through the minutes of the committee meeting and get it clarified before we
take a vote.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve the consent calendar with the exception of item number 29.
Support?
Moved and supported. A roll call vote.
Commissioner Hooper?
Yes.
Edmund?
Yes.
Richardson?
Yes.
Stepka?
Yes.
Wheelock?
Yes, ma'am.
Fleece?
Yes.
Friend?
Yes.
Chairman Thomas?
Yes. Thank you. Administrators report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioners, we have, your first item is your 2010 work plan. You'll recall that after your two strategic planning sessions, you talked about this at Ways and Means, and you indicated you would like to add another priority, which would be the reevaluation of the Board of Public Works structure, Resource Recovery Council structure, and the solid waste system to improve the operations and better serve county residents. And so you can see that's been added as county-wide priorities. We changed the titles on these to board priorities and county-wide priorities to more reflect the fact that the county-wide ones may be somewhat long-term in terms of actually completing them all. But you'll notice under the action steps, those are very specific and give you gives the rest of us some guidance as to how you intend to proceed. So I think this addresses what you had asked for. I hope it does, and I want to thank John Syke for this, and I would recommend approval of the work plan for this year for the commissioners.
Mr. Chairman, I would move to approve the Grand Traverse County Board of Commissioners 2010 work plan as provided.
Is there support?
Support.
Support by Fleece. Discussion. If not, all in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, the next item is a request from American Waste for the establishment of a solid waste transfer station, material recycling station, or facility in Grand Traverse County. According to the county plan, this requires, since it's a Type A facility and it is not government-owned, that there be the establishment of a siting committee. And the law, or excuse me, the plan specifies how representatives for the siting committee are selected. Once you establish a siting committee, that committee will go through a regular review of this project and this request, and then make a recommendation back to you as to the appropriateness of the project for Grand Traverse County. I understand that there is somewhat of or the American Waste would like to move this process of siting along as quickly as possible. So the first, the memo is to make you aware of the fact that you need to appoint a solid waste planning committee to do, solid waste planning siting committee to do a review of this application. Let me tell you that under your plan, in order to do this, you need to have the following individuals or groups represented. You need to have someone from an environmental background, someone from the County Soil Conservation Service, a representative from the County Board of Public Works, a representative from the Regional Solid Waste Planning Agency, a representative from the County Planning Commission. In addition, you need someone from the Road Commission. You need two persons representing Garfield Township because they're looking to locate this in Garfield Township. One person representing any units of government within a 3-mile radius, which would be Blair, East Bay, and the city of Traverse City. And then ex officio members from the surrounding townships, which again would be Blair, East Bay, and the city of Traverse City. Again, I want to reiterate.
Long Lake Township.
Pardon?
Could also be Long Lake Township, depending on where in Garfield Township they site it.
That's correct.
Because they're adjacent townships.
Well, they have a location, and Long Lake is not within the 3 miles.
Okay.
This is, again, the siting committee. And so wanted you to be aware of that. Now, as Bob states in his letter, if the board wishes, he would work on putting together recommendations for appointments for this siting committee. Bob has done so, and I actually do have recommendations that Bob has for you tonight, if you are comfortable doing that. Remember, it's just a siting committee, and so what he's done is he's contacted all of the units of government and asked them who they would like to serve on the siting committee to represent their unit of government. I do have that for you to pass out if you have any interest in making the appointment tonight. the only reason to make the appointment tonight is it will roughly save a month of time in actually going through the citing process, because otherwise we'll have to wait till the end of April before the citing committee would be approved. So it's your call on whether or not you would like to see this list, or whether you'd rather run it through the regular channels and see it at the end of April.
Well, just give it to us.
I guess I got one question. This is the same site as their other operation, right? It doesn't say.
No, it doesn't say.
I just assumed it was at the same site. Tim?
Could you-
the abandoned or the vacant Power Automotive building in Garfield Heights.
Oh,
So it's
so it is a
different.
different site.
They need a lot more space than they have.
Yeah,
in
well,
order to
it
put this
didn't indicate
facility.
where it was.
I will pass these out to you just for your information.
Mr. Chairman, first I would move that we create a site plan committee to review the application by American Waste.
Support.
Been moved and supported. You get the support. Any discussion? Ross?
Dennis,
Yes.
I assume the Solid Waste Facility Siting Committee is something that comes out of state law?
It's required as part of state law, and then it's in our county solid waste plan.
Okay. And this is similar to the facility that American Waste has in Kalkaska now?
I
Their big sorting
assume it is,
facility?
but this is probably a 2-month process that they will have to go through with the siting committee and the reason for it is to make sure that the community is comfortable that it's appropriate where it's located and that it's a fit within the unit of government. So that's why the committee is so extensive in its review. And it's been a long time. I think it was back in maybe the first year I was here, we had one other siting
Right, exactly.
committee in place when Randy Smith was our director. And it was a several-month process that they actually go through with the local community to,
We cited the current American Waste facility.
well, that one,
That's what the siting committee
yes, I
did.
think you're right. I think it was, yes.
So, Sonny, is this committee you're recommending we form now going to be a citing committee also?
Right, it's a siting committee. It's required by the law and
Oh,
by
okay.
our county ordinance.
So let me just clarify, pass this out to you, and it's your choice of whether you do this or not. Mr. Chairman, did we vote on that, on the first motion?
No,
Not yet.
Okay, I'm sorry. Maybe we should do that first.
Yep.
Well, okay, yeah, we'll do that. All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carries. Now, I
So-
got a question on this
Yes.
list.
Mhm.
We got one person in two places.
Well, he's voting on the one and he's next official.
Yeah, he's just representing, that's how the township wanted him to do that. They wanted to send the same person. You'll notice, too, that we don't have a plan commission member here, and there are a couple of ways you could handle this. First of all, you have a county commissioner who sits on the plan commission who might be willing to serve in that capacity. Typically, if that's not the case, then what we've done is, I've often used the county planner to sit in that capacity. It has to be somebody who has that kind of a background. So my suggestion would be either, if Commissioner Friend was willing to do it, to put her in that position, or if not, John Syke, the county planner, in that position, if you're so inclined to approve this tonight.
I did try, oh, I'm sorry.
No, I'm done.
I did try to get a hold of John Syke today. We played phone tag. My understanding was that he didn't recommend anybody to Bob because, sorry, my voice, because he wanted to have the planning commission weigh in and see who they wanted to appoint to it, which is, I think, fine and good direction.
Yeah, I don't know when their next meeting is, but I suppose if you wanted to go that route, then what you could do is you could approve this committee and say whoever Plan Commission
That's exactly what we
recommends.
And I think they have, if I understood it correctly, they have 2 months from the time of getting the application, which would have been March 16th, to make sure it's a complete application. And then that's when this committee starts to do its work.
Yep, but I believe Bob has determined it to be a complete application at this
Okay,
time.
okay.
So it's now time for the citing work to start.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to recommend the appointment by the Board of Commissioners for the Solid Waste Facility Siting Committee as presented, with the understanding that the County Planning Commission will have the authority to place that individual representing County Planning Commission.
Support.
Been moved and supported.
I have a question, but when you're done.
I have a
Didn't ask
question.
it.
My question, Dennis, is how is this fundamental, I mean, I didn't have a problem with I talked to Bob today, and I didn't have a problem with anybody listed here. But I'm just wondering how this is fundamentally different than other board appointments that we make where, we request people to volunteer, or we ask a board to, as in the instance with the Planning Commission, to, see who wants to sit on it and so forth.
It is not any different other than all of these appointments are coming from public bodies.
So, for example, the Road Commission Board, the commissioners may not have decided on the individual.
Yes, they did.
Oh, okay. What are Public Works? Did they open that up to everybody? Or?
I don't know how they decided it, Commissioner. Bob took care of that, so I don't know.
Okay.
I think in the case of the townships, what he did is he called the township supervisor, and he asked the supervisor who they would like to have sit.
Okay.
Are we going to have to do this with 3 motions?
Yeah, was your motion inclusive for everybody?
Yeah, all of them.
Okay.
So the
Yeah.
ones we're appointing plus
For
the
the
ones
Board
we're
Commission, the
approving?
Road Commission, and the municipalities, yeah.
As long as your motion included it. Any more comments, questions? All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Opposed, the same?
Opposed. Opposed.
You're opposed?
I am.
Roll call vote.
Commissioner Inman,
Yes.
Richardson,
Yes.
Stepka,
Yes.
Wheelock,
Yes, ma'am.
Lees,
Yes.
Brent,
No.
Hooper,
Yes.
Chairman Thomas.
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioners. The next item is the bids for I won't pronounce this right, orthophotography. I think I did it. The digital orthophotography for Grand Traverse County. And I'm going to ask Ryan or Riker to come up in case the Commissioners have any questions. You can see included in here are the companies that were requested to bid, and those that did bid. The recommendation is to hire Sanborn at a cost of $48,500, and they've been determined to be a reputable bidder and have been successfully doing this work before for us, correct?
We'll approve it if you can say that word.
Yeah.
I think I got it right.
Photography.
You did a great job.
Mr. Chairman, I would move that we support the recommendation.
Support. Been moved and supported, we accept $48,500, the low bid. Was the low bid, wasn't it? Yeah. Discussion?
I have a question. It says new DTM. What does DTM stand for?
It stands for Digital Terrain Model. It's, this is something, it's basically you can drape the aerial photo and to create a 3D model. It's something that we always wanted, and also it can be utilized for future flights. It saves us a little bit of money in a future flight, because every photogrammetrist or every aerial photo firm is going to require a DTM to meet the specifications, and so we'll have one in-house.
Okay, so the bids that include the new DTM are automatically better for us than the ones that do not, is that correct?
That's correct.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I just noticed this is a pretty big swing in prices, isn't it? From the low of $48,500 to, gosh, over $130,000. So are you pretty comfortable with the fact, I'm glad you feel comfortable taking the $48,500. Do you think that you'll get exactly what you need?
We go to conferences, regularly, a couple times a year, and also we talk with other counties, so we're pretty comfortable with the companies here that we bid with. And it's amazing, every time you bid, one will bid higher, and, it's who's really interested for that year.
Okay.
But they're all reputable companies, and we'll have a chance to do a little quality control on the product prior to receiving the final deliverables.
Okay, great.
And I'll point out to Commissioners, remember, this is partially funded through the tribal grant that we received and through the Register of Deeds Technology Fund. That's the primary funding for this.
Sonny?
Reiner, have they started to prep for this already? All of a sudden, I gained about a 10-foot X on the intersection in front of my house, so.
That's for this.
We were fortunate, we wanted quality control points so that we could actually in-house check the vendor on his work. We were looking for 20 points to put that would actually show up on the aerial photo. We have actual real-time GPS coordinates already that we can test the accuracy of the photography. And I want to thank very much the Grand Traverse County Road Commission for volunteering their time and effort to go out and paint the 20 corners throughout Grand Traverse County.
And I think also the city of Traverse City was going to paint one or two, Reiner?
The city also was, I think they're going to do one corner, possibly two, I'm not sure.
Okay.
I just gained this big X at the intersection between my house and my shop the other day, and where did that
There's one
come
on
from?
Center Road.
They're after you, Seti.
You all didn't get one, did you?
Not that I know. Maybe it's on the roof, though. I don't.
Kind of like a target.
Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ring.
I provided the claims summary for the month of March. Total claims adjusted to exclude STEPCA and Apria are $7,278,664.53. I need approval on that amount.
Mr. Chairman, I would move to approve claims in amount of $7,278,664.53 as outlined by the Finance Director.
Support.
Been moved and supported. Roll call vote.
Commissioner Richardson?
Yes.
Stepka?
Yes.
Wheelock?
Yes, ma'am.
Lees?
Yes.
Friend?
Yes.
Hooper?
Yes.
Inman?
Yes.
And Chairman Thomas.
Yes. Now we have the STEPCA and Apria claims. Sonny?
Mr. Chairman, I'd move to approve STEPCA Apria claims, he said Apria, so I'm saying it too, $5,352.62.
Second.
Been moved and supported. By roll call vote.
Commissioner Stepka?
Abstain.
Wheelock?
Yes, ma'am.
Lees?
Yes.
Friend?
Yes.
Hooper?
Yes.
Inman?
Yes.
Richardson?
Yes.
Chairman Thomas.
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioners. I'm just going to pass these out for you. You asked me to get you some background information about the formation of the library board. So I have that information for you, and I'll pass it out for you now. I also want to point out that I received a call from the director of the library who indicated that she would like to have a study session between the county board and the library board. Her board has asked for that. And I was gone the last 2 days, so I'll be talking to her in the next day or so in an attempt to find some acceptable dates for a joint meeting to take place if you so desire.
Oh, that's great.
I guess, yes, that's a great idea.
Yep, good idea.
That's
Anything
all I
else?
have.
That's all you have? Next item is the items pulled from the consent calendar.
Looking
Page
back at...
20. Go ahead.
Excuse me, looking back at, is it Public Health and Safety, the committee minutes, in the body of the second paragraph is correct. It's a 2002 Chrysler Sebring. So the final paragraph at the bottom needs to be, as Commissioner Wheelock pointed out, changed or corrected to read a 2002 Chrysler Sebring rather than the Chevy Impala. The VIN numbers are correct.
Mr. Chairman, with that clarification,
Wait a minute, you got, oh, right.
there's two vehicles,
Yep,
and
yep.
it was, in the body of it, in the whereas,
Yep.
it talked about the Chrysler Sebring
I
with the
see.
VIN number, but the resolution, as it was drafted in the final paragraph, talked about a 2002 Chevrolet, so I thought we couldn't do it that way, so. With the clarification, I would move to declare one 2002 Chrysler Sebring and one 2002 Pontiac Grand Prix as identified as surplus and authorize the auction of same.
Support.
Moved and supported. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carries. We have no unfinished business.
That's why I caught it.
Yeah.
Let's go to new business.
Flag inspection.
Where'd he go? Jason.
Jason Jones, Parks and Recreation Director. I'd like to thank you for considering, or having this on the agenda for our baseball equipment purchase. After the county board approved that Grand Traverse County run a Civic Center Baseball League, we now need to equip those players. My initial budget that I gave to each of you showed a $19,000, what I projected at that point to be a $19,525 expense to purchase all new equipment based on 48 teams. Came out to, my initial estimate was $19,000. When we opened bids on March 16th, the lowest bid came from actually a company called AD Star out of Pennsylvania in the amount of $13,112. The equipment they quoted, several pieces, were not nationally known. They were the sole source provider of, and they're not nationally known products, which it was stipulated in the RFP that each piece of equipment should be made by Rawlings or an equivalent company. The second highest bid came from Dave Harvey's Athletic Supply here in the county.
Second lowest bid.
Second lowest bid, excuse me. Second lowest bid came from Dave Harvey's here in Grand Traverse County, with a bid of $14,615. Since I opened bids for this, we've been approached by American Legion to purchase some of the used equipment that they have to offer. And Mark Greiner and I sat down today and discussed some of the terms in purchasing some of the equipment. I would suggest that we not purchase all of their used equipment because several of their helmets are very old style helmets that don't offer the optimum protection for kids' heads. And I feel the same way in regards to their catcher's equipment. Depending on what we negotiate and depending on the amount of equipment we purchase from American Legion, our cost of $14,650 may go down, or will go down. And if we have fewer kids apply or become part of the program, we won't have to buy as much equipment. What I'm asking for is the Board of Commissioners to approve purchase of equipment from Dave Harvey's Athletic Supply up to $14,615. As I said, this number may fluctuate based on the amount of equipment we purchase used from American Legion, but because it has the potential to go over $10,000, I wanted to ask for this board's approval.
Mr. Chairman, I would move to authorize the Parks and Recreation Director to purchase the baseball equipment as needed for this season up to the amount of $14,615.60 and encourage him to negotiate with the American Legion for used equipment that is still serviceable.
Support.
She already did.
It's an advantage
She was
sitting right
supporting
next
him
to
and
him.
he's voting. Any discussion?
No, I think it's important that we make sure that the equipment we're using is safe, but I've seen a lot of used bats that function just as well as new bats, and in today's world, at least a portion of the kids that come with the team come with their bat. I coached long enough to know that one kid brings a bat and at least 3 or 4 kids on the team uses his bat instead of using the team bat.
I think we kind of feel the same way, Commissioner, but I did have a chance to have, Jason actually brought some samples of the American Legion equipment in, and particularly in the area of helmets and face masks, protective gear for the catchers. I would say it's been a long time since I used that stuff, but it really should be replaced in order to make sure that the children are really kept safe. So, we're going to kind of go through all of that and only purchase what we need to, and then hopefully get the rest from American Legion at a reasonable price.
I just want to add that this was already approved by the Parks and Rec Board.
This was approved by the Parks and Rec.
And that it comes out of the Park and Rec budget.
Yes, it does.
I doubt it's been that long, Dennis. Has it been that long?
It's been a long time. Well, there were my kids, but,
But I did get a chance to talk to Jason earlier today, and I really appreciated how much interest you put into the headgear protection for the kids, because it's huge.
How much does the bat cost?
I'm sorry?
How much is a baseball bat?
The average price for our 6 divisions was $24 and change.
$24 a piece?
Right. That's average.
Remember, Dick, these are aluminum bats.
Right.
They're not wood.
When I was a child, I could buy a Northern Ash bat for $2.
He just keeps giving up the
Of course, that was before the American League was formed.
Wasn't that before it was baseball?
Jason, how
was
is
before the ball was
everything
sown.
going with registration?
Registration's going well with baseball. We had 13,000 flyers go out to the school district. We've got about 800 more flyers to go for some of the academies and charter schools, so each of the students in the community receive a flyer. We've also been promoting it through the Grand Traverse Insider. We've had a lot of word of mouth. We've been receiving a flurry of calls every day. We have several participants that have approached us about being part of a scholarship program. So it's going well. We have approximately 170 kids signed up already. A lot of people that have called with questions mentioned that they were going to sign their kids up after spring break. So we anticipate seeing an influx in the next couple weeks for this program.
What's the deadline, Jason?
We had somewhat of a rolling deadline. We won't really cut it off pretty much until games start, although team formation we plan on having happen the week of April 26th.
So another 2-3 weeks, people should try to get their applications in.
Absolutely.
In order to get on a team right away.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Larry? I'll not be supporting this motion tonight because I'm still opposed to the use of county taxpayer dollars supporting a program when we had a institution that ran it for 62 years on a voluntary basis, and it didn't cost taxpayers any money. So I'll not be supporting the motion.
Just for clarification, actually, the cost will come out of the revenues from the registration fees, correct?
Correct.
Let's vote before I change my mind because of the price of the bats. Hey, these guys, these hockey players, over $250 for one of them sticks, and they're breaking them every 2 minutes. I paid $6 for one of those. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the same?
Aye.
Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Wheelock?
Yes.
Fleece?
No.
Friend?
Yes.
Hooper?
Yes.
Inman?
Yes.
Richardson?
Yes.
Stepka?
Yes.
And Chairman Thomas?
Yep. You're on a roll.
Next.
At our Parks and Recreation Commission meeting on March 18th, Parks and Recreation Commission reviewed and approved a list of Parks and Recreation Commission bylaws. These are a series of bylaws that were drafted by one of our newer commissioners, Pete Doran, and they were reviewed by the Parks and Recreation Rules Committee and brought to the Parks and Recreation Commission for approval. These bylaws have been approved and reviewed by Bob Cooney and the Parks and Recreation Commission. I was asked by the Parks and Recreation Commission to present these to the Board of Commissioners for their review, and I would suggest them going to the Resource Management and Administration Committee.
Mr. Chairman, as you are aware, Commissioners Max Bauer, Stepka, and I are sitting on a joint committee with the Parks and Recreation members and Jason and Bob Cooney to review the resolution that created the Parks and Recreation Board and the guidelines by which that they operate. Those documents, I believe, have to be a prequel to the approval of the bylaws, and therefore, I would certainly recommend that they go to Resource Management for review. And I would make that motion that they be forwarded to Resource Management and Administration.
Support.
Been moved and supported. Discussion? All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried.
Thank you.
On to you.
Oh, this is,
Commissioner Friend, I'm passing out the newsletter.
oh, that's fine. I think they had it in their mailbox.
Oh, do they have it already?
Yeah, I think so. This is just quite simply a simple idea to recognize the volunteers that sit on our boards and commissions that we appoint. Chris, Sarah, and I, and Jen have done just a little background information on it, and it's something that is reasonable financially to do, also time-wise, respectful of the staff's time, that it's not too cumbersome, burdensome. And, I had the opportunity to thank someone that we appoint to a committee one time. I was reading through and saw some information that the committee did, some work that they had done that kind of went over above and beyond, and I had picked up the phone that evening and called them, and they said, wow, thank you so much for calling. And, on any other given night, I may not have called if 10 million things were going on, and I thought, that's a shame. We should remember to stop and thank them. So I thought this would be an easy and reasonable way to do that.
I guess I'd like to compliment Commissioner Friend and Chris Kramer and Sarah Adams.
Motion for decision.
Why don't I just go ahead and make a motion to approve this, then I'll make a remark. I'll make a motion to approve the recommendation as
Moved and
presented.
supported, discussion?
I'd like to, again, second, compliment Commissioner Friend, Chris Kramer, and Sarah Adams for coming with this recommendation. We have a lot of folks that we appoint and do a lot of volunteer work in the county, and it would be a real nice gesture on our part if we can at least give them a thank you annually. Thinking back, when I first got on the board, we had some discussion about how we could thank those volunteers, and at one point in time, Dennis, I don't recall what we exactly did, because my memory is fading as I'm getting older, and that, we had kind of like we invited them all in, we had a meet and greet, we had like punch and coffee and cookies, and we just basically thanked them for their service and that kind of a thing, and we had done that once or twice over a 5-year period. But we just kind of lost sight of it and kind of moved on to other things. But I think this is a nice gesture. It's something simple. It's not overly expensive that we can do. I don't know if there's something else we could do for them in terms of a second thought, but I think at this point in time, I think this is more than appropriate.
Thanks, I appreciate that, and I agree. I think this is a simple, basic step that we could take on an annual basis.
Right.
And in years when we're able to, staff-wise and money-wise, do something additional, that would be terrific too. But at this point, a month ahead of time, that we can do this.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I would just say, I'd have to agree, this is a small price to pay for an incredible amount of service we get, contribution and time and energy from these volunteers.
I got a question. Who seconded that? Yep, you were right.
Okay.
And I do have, Sarah printed up some sample cards that would go to the printer, and what we'd like to do is sign them, and so the signature will be on the
cool.
card. So.
Yeah.
All right. Everybody happy? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the same? Motion carried. The next item, you'll see that I already signed it. So I'd like a motion. Well, they had to have it so they could get it rolling, so.
This, if I could explain this, on page, I think it's 25, it's the page that has the numbers on it. This is a $6,305.03 increase in the DHS, the DHS column component. That does not flow through our accounting records at all. I'm not quite sure how that works. I was trying to find that out. It does not affect the court amount that was originally approved. It does increase the budget by the same amount, but I am in agreement with this amendment, and we're trying to work out or figure out how they actually report that through the 207s. And I can't speak as to the nature of the counseling, but Judge Stowe did agree and sign the amendment, so we're asking Commissioner Thomas for approval to do the same.
Chairman, I would move to ratify the chairman's signature on the DHS document amending the 2008 or 2009-2010 budget. Then, right, Dean? This is 2009-10.
Correct, and this fiscal year is, coincides with the state fiscal year, so yes, it's our 2010
Support.
budget.
Moved and supported, discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the same, motion carries. Next item is appointments to the Northern Lakes Community Mental Health. The recommendation is Mary Lee who recommended them?
Actually, I'll take this one if you'd like. I'll explain a little bit of
Okay,
background if
all right.
you'd like. Chris Kramer had advertised, and also Northern Lakes had advertised in their newsletter for applicants, whoever was interested, and we didn't receive any interested applications.
Besides the two.
Besides the two
Who
who were
wish to be
interested.
reappointed.
Yeah, who wish to be reappointed. So rather than have the subcommittee bring them in for an interview when there's no one else who's interested, we just thought we would ask the commission to reappoint them.
I would move that we reappoint Mary Lee Pakizor and Frank Tosiello
Support.
to terms expiring starting April 1st and expiring in 2013, is that correct?
Looks like March 31.
To the Northern Lakes Community Mental
No,
Health Authority.
April 1st, 2010 to March 31st, 2013.
And you supported it?
Sure, uh-huh.
Discussion?
Yeah, I would just like to say, this is an example, I think, of why last year or so we suspended the term limits on committee appointments, because it's hard to find good people, and when we do have them, I think we should keep them.
It is hard to find.
It can be. We also have had some really good volunteers in the past year on LNA. When we sat through some of those long interviews.
Further comment? All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carries. That completes our new business, unless you can't thought of something else.
I would,
Go ahead. Second chance for public comment. You may have to line up, but this is your second chance. Anybody want to speak? Okay, Larry?
I would like to make a motion that we instruct staff to check with John Axe regarding the assessment that can be made by the BPW.
We just covered that.
Two things. If it has to be inclusive of the, all the townships, and if we're able to, for example, not include the rural townships, but the metro townships. And to find out if it is a resolution or an ordinance that Mr. Axe spoke to at the meeting we held. In other words, I'd like staff to find out exactly what we need to do if we wish to take action on this in the future.
I think if I understood what occurred at the beginning of the meeting, that we voted not to have that as an agenda item. But my suggestion to Commissioner Fleece would be to ask staff to put, any county commissioner can put an agenda item on our committee of the wholes, that if you should place that on the Administrative Resource Committee, committee for the month of April.
Yeah,
It's a suggestion.
I don't think you can make a motion during public comment. I had to
Right.
close public
Yeah.
comment, yeah.
I mean, that would be a suggestion in terms of a direction for you, Commissioner Fleece.
Why would that be under public comment?
What's not?
Because I hadn't closed public comment yet. I don't know how you can bring it up when it was already voted down.
No,
But you can
the
request.
vote passed, I thought.
No.
I'm sorry.
You tried to add
Your
to the...
request
no,
to add to the
Ross,
agenda,
Pardon?
your request to add the item for discussion to the agenda was not approved.
Oh, it wasn't?
No,
No.
no.
Oh,
It needed
excuse
a
me.
two-thirds vote.
Right.
And they got 5 votes.
Right, it
needed
had
6.
5 votes, it
You
needed
got
6.
5.
Had to have two-thirds vote.
It's not 2/3 of those present, it's 2/3 of commissioners
full
elected
commission.
and sitting.
Right.
And the reason for the two-thirds?
It's in your rules.
It's in your
You added
bylaw.
it to your rules.
It's in the
This
Yeah,
last
but what's the reason?
So we don't get a bunch of stuff added to the agenda, I guess.
You had until Wednesday, last Wednesday at 5 o'clock to add stuff to the agenda for tonight's meeting.
Yeah, we can put that on the agenda, or,
But I mean, a
Well,
commissioner
I'll
could
just ask
request
Mr.
that
Aloya
that be
to
added.
put it
Yeah.
on the
sure,
agenda of,
we can do that.
Resource Administration Committee.
Yep.
I don't think we have to be in a big hurry, because we're waiting for some other answers from Mr. Axe anyway.
Waiting for the economy to pick up.
I'll be glad to reopen it.
Glenn Lyle, Supervisor, East Bay Township. I guess I'm really stunned tonight that we sit here and debate over dividing townships over the septic plant. I've been dealing with this septic plant for 6 years now, and I don't think we're any further than we were when I started. We're paying a consultant to go out to outlying counties and talk to them about joining in, and we can't come together as one county. I'm telling you, anybody watches these meetings and looks at this, we've got to be the laughing stock out there. We can't come together as the townships and figure out what to do with this septic plant. All we can do is try to draw the line in the sand so that this person doesn't have to pay, but these, and I think the remark was, they didn't want the 5 townships to die, they just wanted them to feel the pain. I'll tell you, I don't know how we're gonna go forward until we come together and figure out how to make it work. We can't tear it down, we can't take it back, and probably none of us sitting around here had a thing to do with it. But we are the ones that were voted in, and we've got to make it work and figure it out. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. Get your calendars out.
Mr. Chairman, I will not be at the Public Safety, Public Health and Safety Committee meeting. I need to be excused for that on April 7th.
Mr. Chairman, I'll be out of town the 21st for Ways and Means. I should be back in town in time to make the 7 o'clock Board of Commissioners meeting on the 28th, but I will be gone that week.
Did they decide what time that meeting was on the 20th today?
I'm not,
That subcommittee meeting with
I'm not sure what committee meeting you're speaking
not your
of.
contract.
I don't know.
The 13th was canceled. And they
13th
offered-
was canceled, and they
And
put
they
it
offered 3 other dates.
they said 20th. And I said 11 o'clock, or she said 11 o'clock, and
I don't know, Commissioner, I haven't seen anything.
Okay.
16th, the 19th, and the 20th was the dates offered, and there's been no decision made yet as far as
Okay,
I'm
all
aware.
right.
Is this
Commissioners-
the one on the police and the schools?
No, this is on the administrator's contract.
Oh, okay.
The committee that was established for that.
Oh, all right.
Commissioners that sit on the Siegel Study Committee, what's the
That's what I was
next?
just going to say.
I don't know, ask. I'll ask.
What meeting's canceled on the 13th?
No, not that one.
Okay.
No, not that one.
The Siegel Subcommittee meetings, we've met twice now, and we're meeting on Fridays from 8:30 to 10. And, excuse me, we've set our schedule up through the end of April so far, and so the next 2 scheduled meetings are April 9th and April 23rd. Also, my understanding is that the minutes and the postings and so forth, the postings obviously are on the website, but the minutes and so forth are on the intranet. I haven't had a chance to look at them. They're trying to connect them to the general website as well, so that people can follow the process and know when the meetings are and come to them. And
Commissioner, that's at 8:30 in the morning, correct?
8:30 till, I'm sorry, did I say 9? I had
Yeah, 8:30.
8:30 to 10.
To 10. Okay.
And then on another subcommittee meeting, the Septic Finance Subcommittee meeting will be meeting April 9th at 9 a.m. at Garfield Township Hall.
Really?
That meeting I'll not be able to attend, as my wife's having surgery on the 8th.
What was the date of
9th,
Oh, yeah.
except finance.
Oh, yeah, I'll be gone that day.
That's Siegel, that's the same time as the Siegel.
Yeah, I get a pick.
Anything else?
We also have 2 tentative dates, and I'm sorry that I don't think it's finalized, to meet members of the Board of Commissioners with the school board representatives of TCAPS and Kingsley. And I don't believe that date has been finalized either, but it's that third week in April, I believe, so.
Yeah, she just called me about it this morning.
There was 3 dates.
Yeah.
I know that I responded that I would be gone on the 22nd, which was one of the dates, and I'm not sure if the date's been finalized.
And
But we should note that we are going to have that meeting, as TCAPS and Kingsley Schools has expressed an interest in participating.
and that's our full board, if I remember correctly,
Yes.
right?
Special.
But now
I believe so.
TCAPS, and I'm not sure about Kingsley, it won't be their full boards?
I have not seen a formal letter, but my understanding was their chairman and vice chairman of TCAPS wanted to meet along with administrative staff. I think that's what they had agreed to, but I haven't seen that. I asked for that in writing, and I have not seen that, Commissioner, so I don't know if that's how that's going to work out.
What about with Kingsley, do we know?
Kingsley was invited the same way, and I know they want to participate, but I think it was going to be the superintendent and maybe their chairman.
Okay.
Anything else?
This isn't relative to the calendar, but it's a notice or announcement.
Oh.
Commissioner Inman and myself just attended the MAC conference, legislative conference down in Lansing. It started Monday and ended today. In tonight's consent calendar on page 3, the Van Buren County Board of Commissioners had a resolution which we endorsed, and it speaks specifically, and I would advise every commissioner to read this, regarding the Headley Amendment and unfunded mandates. Larry and I learned some pretty interesting deals down there. For 31 years, the state has issued mandates and didn't appropriate the funds, and it's in direct conflict of the law and the Constitution. It's in the Michigan Constitution that they have to appropriate the money to do that. And the smoking ban coming up May 1st, the state mandated that the enforcement would be up to the county health departments, but per their 31-year record, they didn't appropriate any funds. And the one county, which is
Oakland County.
Oakland County, we had some speakers down there, and they advised us, and they advised all the counties that was present, that unless they have ample excess funds that they can continue to do these mandates being unfunded by the state, the correct procedure would be to advise the state that we're not going to enforce the mandate. They've done some checking with other states that have these smoking bans, and it's a very expensive endeavor. You know, historically, health departments don't work weekends, they don't work nights, till say the bar is closed. And consequently, if you're getting complaints and nobody's responding, I think we're going to have a big problem. But anyway, to do it legally, and perhaps Bob would be familiar with this, the way Headley is written, what you have to do is refuse to do the mandate because it's an unfunded mandate, and you seek a declaratory judgment through the Michigan Court of Appeals.
We would have to do that as a county?
Yes. It has to be a taxpayer, but the taxpayer, it can be any citizen that lives in Grand Traverse County, it could be any citizen on this board, but what happens is the citizen, it's filed in the citizen's name, and we'll say Bruce Hooper is selected. Bruce Hooper versus and the County Board of Commissioners. And what they do is they exempt the citizen, Bruce Hooper, from any of the associated cost. And Headley really had a lot of forethought in this, because normally you would start out district court, circuit court, and you go up through. But under the Headley deal, you go directly to the Michigan Court of Appeals. And for example, there's some case law on it. Wayne County, 1998. Michigan, another one is Michigan Department of Education versus Grosse Pointe Public Schools, and that's under 266 Mich. I don't know what the APP is, but we have the site here. But in that particular case, this attorney also spoke to us down there. It took him over 17 years to get the Supreme Court to finally issue a ruling. They just kept stonewalling him. When the ruling was finally issued, the state was ordered to pay Grosse Pointe Public Schools $220 million. And, the state, when they got, there isn't any place else to go, you know, the Supreme Court ordered it. So the state wisely thought, well, there's a lot of school districts in Michigan, and I'm sure they're going to get lined up. Well, in the end, the state, so there wouldn't be anybody that would have a claim against them regarding this case, paid out a little over $1 billion to the school districts in the state of Michigan because of an unfunded mandate. But they continue to do this, and I think either we should investigate this and see if there isn't a way we can join the Oakland County suit they're going to file, or we file our own suit, because and that's the only way you can stop it. Otherwise, once you start, you can't just arbitrarily in the middle of it say, well, we don't have any more money, we're not going to do this. Once you start, you have to continue. So I think we need to take some type of action like that. Preferably, it would be to join the Oakland County suit. And I'm not an attorney, but I would think maybe class action or whatever they would call it. But another interesting thing, and it also speaks in this thing on page 3, in the House in Lansing, the Democrats introduced bills 5799, 5800, 5801, and 5802. The Republicans introduced 5797, 5798, and 5836. In the Senate, Senator Gleason introduced 1411, 1142, and 1143 to address this issue. And what's really unique is all of those bills are the same bill. There's no differences in them whatsoever. They're bipartisan bills, and it's an attempt to get the state to stop violating the law and the Constitution of Michigan, and if they're going to issue mandates, they need to fund them.
Well, Commissioner Fleece did an excellent job with the overview, and on that particular issue that was dealt with heavily at the conference. And I guess my suggestion would be kind of twofold. If we want to pursue some further information, is one, send a letter to the Michigan Association of Counties and ask the Board of Directors of the Michigan Association of Counties if they're going to take a position in what direction they'd recommend their fellow counties proceed with. And in a lot of cases, when I served on the board, they went ahead and did an amicus brief, in terms of that direction. But I guess the other suggestion I would have is that we would direct staff to contact Oakland County and to get some further information about exactly how they're approaching this thing, and to come back with a recommendation as to whether we should file something joining Oakland County, or we should wait for the Michigan Association of Counties to make a determination in terms of a recommendation to the other counties in the state of Michigan, how they would proceed. You know, in terms of efficiency, because it's not that we don't, you can bet that just about every board of commissions in the state of Michigan is behind this, this effort. It's how best to proceed. If Oakland County is going to file, does that mean the rest of the counties file an amicus brief, or, structurally, if you want to go forward with this, how to do that? So that would be my suggestion.
Just a note, the two speakers that did the presentation on this was a Robert Dado, and he's the Deputy Oakland County Executive, and the attorney that's been doing these suits for a number of years is Dennis Pollard, and he's an attorney with Sechrist Wardle. But they did say, both of them, if you have any questions, you need any information, please contact us. They were very open about that.
Okay. Anything else?
Mr. Chairman, I just want to clarify, I had requested a discussion with the committee established to look at my labor contract, and if you would please, who are the commissioners that are on that committee that was appointed?
It was Dick, Commissioner Fleece, and Commissioner Stepka.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And as far as I know, that's going to be on the 20th.
Okay. I just got back today, so I don't know.
That's just what I heard today. Okay. How about a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Say goodnight, Dickie.
Good night, Bob.
Huh?
Robert, have a good one. That wasn't so bad.
You too. Got through it. I see that.
I must say,